Excited to continue the conversation about AI movie making. What did you discover this week before we show our progress? Anything when you've been kind of going on, social media?
No, what basically what I've looked at this week is I watched some movies, and though we're not there with the trailer yet, when we created, but what's important is watch the movies and watch how the scenes unfold. And when I did my trailers for my two books, Cyberkill and Jonathan Smythe's, the director had my screenplay, okay, which is fine, but that wasn't enough. He had to go in and create what he called a shot list. All right. And though the screenplay tells you the narrative and tells you what takes place, translating that into an actual shot list that the production crew would have to do, and as simple as such and such makes a statement, and the other person responds, "Well, are they together on the same screen at that point in time, talking to each other, or you switch to a two-camera shot where you focus in on the first of all on the first guy that's talking, then you switch over and you show the second character." And another thing that's really interesting, if you watch movies, action adventure or really anything, there'll be a time when the screenplay and says that the character has to pick up a gun or pick up a newspaper or pick up something that's important for the plot. And you got to shoot that. You got to establish that product. And you take that shot all by itself. Okay. All right. If you want the guy to pick it up, okay, you want to show him his hand. You want to show the gun or the rifle or whatever. We have an example of that. I don't know, Neil. If can we show that about the hand going to the rifle?
Yeah, we'll get to that. Anything else? And I'm going to share screen. I'm going back into flow right now, and I'm going to go into the
Yeah. So
concept,
yeah,
the
you
proof of
authors out there,
concept,
yeah, you
and
authors
then
out there, yeah, you authors out there, watch movies just because you wrote the fiction, and even if you could adapted it to a screenplay. When you're doing these, when you're acting as a director, and you gotta actually create the screen, create the scene. You'll see that it's not just them walking by themselves. You got to switch between character to character. Now we're not going to have a lot of that in the trailer, okay? But in the we're going to have a lot of that in the short once we've established the trailer characters and what have you. But show them that
yeah, we're showing it right now. There
yeah.
we go. And we're going to see the gun scene. But you see how realistic that looks like. It really, we're getting closer and closer from if we would show you videos from last year to this year of real life people.
And these are characters out of the book, actual characters. But yeah, now stop that right there.
Okay.
Okay. Why did you have to do that? Right. Well, that's an important thing about in the screenplay. Say this gun has to be is important, right? So he just doesn't walk over and bend over and pick up a rifle. You want to establish it. There may be a reason why we're establishing this gun. It may show you that it's unloaded, and that later on, when he reaches for the gun in order to defend himself, he can't because it's unloaded. So you're establishing that, and then there's no characters involved. Okay, keep going.
Okay. Okay.
Now establishes that he's picking up the gun. So the point I'm making is that you will probably have shots of just an object, okay? Because you got to establish that this is the object. Maybe it's a cigarette case or something like that, where that later on it becomes important in the plot. But you've established what that is. Right? Has not it's not You're not looking at, you're not creating a character, using a character, you're using sort of object or whatever. And also there are things called B reels, which you have to establish. And B reels are basically the stuff that parts of the movie that you put in, you filmed outside the flow of the movie. You know, like for instance, you ever see there's supposed to be the movie about these guys on the train, and then you switch it back and you see the train running, then you go back into the scene, then you see the train running doing something else. So that's a B reel, and you would put that together along with the screen, and then you edit that in, an airplane's flying or something that you want to show you want to show exactly what's happening. If they're riding on a train, you want to show the train not in different sites, hit over a bridge, train going through this, doing that, and then switch back the character back and forth. So that's something we have to create also when we do the short, not necessarily the trailer. The
Exactly.
trailer is just a proof of concept, developing the characters uh, and learning the consistency from character to character and from character in the same scene that he may be doing different in the same scene. So and that's what we're doing now with the engineering of the AI.
Well, yeah, it's interesting prompt engineering that we're doing, for
Yeah,
sure, Frank. It's something that, you're like, are you kidding me? This is unreal. What has to be done, right? It's
yeah,
not, it's very surprising, and yeah, and you're wondering what's next? Where do we go next, right? Where are we heading in this process? Because it's so detailed, and that's with everything with AI. You cannot just throw in a prompt and think it's going to create magic.
no, you can't. No, you're an author. You write. You create realities. All right. You got to create that reality with your prompts or what I call is the shot list. All right. So you just can't say do this, right? AI wants to know how, where, why, when. All right. What's the behavior of the character? You know, what's his background, and why is he doing what he's doing? And that all comes out in your book, the way you write your fiction book. So that's it. That's why I always say you're not writing chapters, you're writing scenes when you're writing fiction. If you want to create a movie out of it.
All right. Well, some great stuff, Frank, you've been talking about today. Go to frankfiore.com. Frank, also, we talked about on another podcast about, the 250th anniversary of the Declaration of Independence. People can go to frankfiore.com and pick up that book really for free just by downloading it.
Yes, it is. So if you want to really get more information, or you may not be aware of how the Declaration of Independence was signed and how the Constitution was put together, it's an education to read that and see exactly what you wonder. You scratch your heads. How the heck did it ever happen? 13 different colonies, 13 different states had to come to an agreement, and it wasn't easy. And there was a lot of compromises that were made, which eventually we had to settle, unfortunately, in blood. And one compromise, which is slavery, and there were other compromises that were made that were had to be dealt with later on as the country developed.
All right. That was a special simulcast, Neil Haley Show and the Frank Fiore Show, guys. Take care.